Why buy all the tools you need when you can make your own? That's what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be making our own tools, y'all. Oh!
Building a house can be an enormous task, and you really need the right tools to get the job done correctly. One reason why we chose to build an Earthbag home was to limit the amount of tools that we need. And this also really helps bring down the cost of building our off-grid, debt-free home. For the majority of the work, really the only tools we need are right here. But there is one other essential tool that you need if you want to build an Earthbag house. So I'm talking about tampers. Now this tamper we already own, but we're going to be building some custom tampers that are actually going to work a little bit better on the bags that we need, and they're probably going to be a little bit easier for us to use the way that we are planning on using them.
I'm excited. I'm excited about the prospect of making our own tools out of some found items that we picked up scavenging around here. Maybe a few bought items, but mainly it's just leftover items. We'll be able to use this to make our own tools to build our own off-grid house.
We live in an area in southern Arizona where there's some grassland and there's also what you could call desert scrub. And there's not a lot of trees to speak of. The trees that we have technically would be the acacias and some mesquites, but if you look at them, they look like bushes or shrubs. So if we're gonna look around our environment for materials to make some tools, we have to be a little bit creative here. What we have a lot of here are these spiky plants called yuccas. Sometimes when they're ready to flower, they'll send up this tall, woody, stem-like spike that the flowers grow off of. It's actually pretty thick and dense, almost like a tree trunk or a tree branch.
So these are all the possible candidates. I think some of these might be better than others. We're looking at about maybe 1.25 inch thickness. And you can buy like a wooden dowel to use for these. But you know, if you can find your own hardwood around where you live, pick it up, try using it. I don't know how great some of these will be, but I think I'm going to give it a shot. I think it'll have enough strength for how we're going to use them. Basically what I want is a 4-foot length of wood. So as straight as I can get it, and a good piece, I think we might have something. I'll just move some of my choices over to the cutting area, get it ready. Alright, so this is one of those projects that I've never done before, so I'm a little nervous. But it seems relatively simple and should go together pretty quick. At least I think. Like I said, never done this before. So I'm here at my miter saw, I got my sticks over there. I'm going to cut them down to 4 feet size. Should be interesting cutting this wood with a miter saw. Hopefully it doesn't splinter too much. Cut that real nice. Real nice. Let me just double check the length here. I think this is going to make a mighty nice little tool. So what we got here is basically the stalk of a yucca plant. I really wasn't sure how this might fare for tool making, but I think it might be pretty decent. This looks pretty solid to me. I'm anxious to see how this turns out. I got a few more pieces to cut up. I'm going to make 4 tampers all together. Now that I got all these cut down to size 4-foot lengths, it's time to get some metal involved. I'm going to encase the bottom of these in concrete. So concrete has compression strength, but it doesn't have the tensile strength. So I'm going to need to add some metal to the bottom of these things to keep the concrete stable. So I was able to acquire some rebar. Any kind of rigid metal would do. It doesn't matter if it's threaded or not. It just needs to give the concrete just a little something to keep it together. But I gotta cut this up. You just want to cut it up so that it stays within the confines of the concrete that you pour. You'll see what I mean in a bit. That was kind of sweet. Now that I got all the rebar cut, I'm gonna go back to my sticks and I need to drill some holes for these to go through. May I ask what you're doing here? Are you working on a project? She's working on a project, not filming. Shame on you. Honey, how much longer are you gonna be using the drill for?
As long as I need it.
Well, there you go. I'm gonna drill 3 holes in here for my little rebar pieces. Just perfect. Nice. With these ones, basically I came up 1 inch from the bottom and then approximately 1.5 inches after that. I'm going to add in my rebar pieces. Maybe they'll need to be persuaded just a tad. Talking about home self-defense too. I cut various lengths of barbed wire because I wasn't 100% sure what I would need. But basically, you want to take some barbed wire and just kind of tangle it around. Look what we got. Yeah, I'm ready for a hardcore match, y'all. The last thing I'm gonna do is put a little nail into the head of each one of these. So basically, you just want this approximately about 1/2 inch sticking out, and that will keep the stick from touching the ground. You're gonna see why. Tomorrow, I'm gonna be messing with a cement sand mix. Living off grid is already a pretty hardcore thing to do, but we here at GDP, we're taking it up a couple notches. Ah! Off-grid self-defense right here, y'all! Ah! Ah! So to complete these tools, I need forms. 2 of them will be these old plastic pots that we got when we bought some plants for our garden. The other 2 will be these old yogurt containers. Use what you got. But I need to get these bottoms out of here. These bottoms are no good to me. Alright, so I threw some nails in this board. Let's see how it works holding up the new tools. Alright, it looks like it's holding up pretty well. I don't know if I'd trust it in a strong windstorm, but it should do at least for now. At least until I can get my mix into these pots. So for my mix here, I'm going to use 1 part cement to 2 parts sand. So for the sand mix, I'm just using a couple different types of sand I got from the local gravel company. Now, believe it or not, I'm hand mixing this. I'm not using the new mixer because I don't want to get concrete and stuff in there. I want to kind of tap on it a little bit. Another thing they suggest is getting a stick. Kind of get that mixture around. Tap a little bit, getting the air bubbles out of there. Kind of had to work fast in order to get this stuff in there. I'm hoping that it went all the way around the rebar, all the barbed wire. I'm going to wait 24 hours before I take these off. We're going to see how they turn out. Ooh, cross your fingers on this. Alright, sometimes you're working on a project, sometimes you get wins, sometimes you get losses. This is probably a loss. Not only do we want to show you the successes we have out here, we want to show you the failures as well. These tools didn't quite work out as well as we had hoped. Let me show you. This is our first mix. I think way too dry, and possibly one of the issues with all of these is that maybe the aggregate in the sand was too large. This thing looks like it's ready to fall apart. The second one has a lot wetter mix, and it does look a lot better than this first one, but we're a little disappointed that the mix didn't cover the bottom completely. Plus, it's kind of falling apart a little bit, and some of these edges we're a little concerned about. This one, definitely with the wetter mix, but when I took it out of the plastic, the whole bottom crumbled. I think you're supposed to be able to take it out of the forms within 24 hours. So we might try this again using actual concrete sand, or maybe even some natural sand that we can get out of a wash, and then maybe a little wetter of a mix, and we'll see how that works. We got the sand. I'm ready for round 2 of making our own tools. Let's go. So I made this mix a lot soupier, and I'm hoping it molds better to the mold. Let's see how this turns out. I guess this is moment of truth time. Alright, so second time trying to make the tools. This time definitely turned out better than the last. I think the sand cement mixture was a lot better this time. I definitely needed to wait longer before trying to take it out of the molds. This is approximately 48 hours, almost 2 full days after mixing it. This one didn't quite turn out. The mix didn't get all the way around the bottom. But these are still going, and ferro cement does take a while to harden completely. Over the next week or so, I'll probably spritz this with water and just allow it to cure very slowly. But I'm excited to get to use these. Using a tool like this, made from things we have lying around instead of having to go and possibly get some new tools, I think this is really refreshing. But overall, I think these are looking a lot better than the last time. All right, thanks a lot, everyone. We'll catch you on the next video.
Don't break the camera.
Breaking the camera! Listen, fool camera, you don't know who you're messing with, all right? GDP's in the his house. Watch out, watch your back.